Welcome to the FirstBank Fintech podcast. This is the show where we discuss with brilliant minds, innovators in the financial technology space and banking in Nigeria. I'm your host, Fisayo, and I'm joined by the extravagant Tomike, my co-host. How are you doing now?
I'm good. I didn't see that coming, and I absolutely love that.
Thank you.
You're
I told
doing
you
well.
we had more in the bag.
Okay, so next one, too. I'm not expecting to hear extravagance, right?
Wait, what's extravagant?
Extravagance is extravagance. Even my sleeves, they are rather extravagant, right?
It is indeed.
Thank you. And we are doing extravagant to not work for our guests. Have to find another one. And we are joined by the strategic guest. I'm going to say by a strategic guest because he's actually the strategic partnership manager, FirstBank Nigeria, Tolulope Adeyinka. Hi, Tolu. Welcome.
Yeah, thank you very much for having me.
What strategies do you have for us today?
That's very cliche.
Oh my, welcome to our show.
Thank you.
Are you excited?
Of course I am.
What's the first thing you did today?
To think about what I'm going to talk about today.
Oh.
I'm excited to talk about.
What is the most exciting thing you want to talk about today? Maybe we should start with that.
What fintechs are doing in Nigeria particularly. And where it is taking us.
Oh, I wanted to say, where is it taking us? But no, that would be me jumping. So let's talk about what fintechs are doing now in a nutshell. Just give us the gist.
Well, I think fintechs are bringing in a lot of innovation into the industry.
Yes.
And they are bringing in a lot of investment into the country in form of foreign direct investments by the venture capitalists who invest in them. So we're seeing a lot of improvement in the market, and it is bringing Nigeria to light in Africa and the world, basically.
Interesting. Okay, so this podcast is about fintechs. It's also about open banking, and we just want to know, is open banking a welcome development in the financial services industry in Nigeria, and why do you think it is a welcome development?
Yes, absolutely, it is. It's a welcome development, and I'm happy. Players in the industry are happy that the CBN has released a framework to guide how open banking is going to work in Nigeria. A lot of banks have been releasing their APIs because if you look at open banking, it's basically sharing APIs and data with third parties. So a lot of banks have been doing this, but it has not been in a uniform manner and a structured manner. So I think it's now going to increase the level of innovation when banks start practicing in full. It's going to increase the level of innovation amongst fintechs because banks will now be sharing data with fintechs, and that's definitely going to increase customer experience and different types of products in the market.
Yeah. So there's innovation, improvement in so many ways.
Yes.
And if we're going to look at it from the use cases, what do you think the relevant use cases are, and what business models do you think work?
The use cases are they are enormous, and you can't exhaust the use cases because as innovation starts, sometimes you don't even know where you're going with innovation. You stumble on something and you find that, we can do this.
Yeah.
But generally, we find that a lot of fintechs have issues with customer onboarding, personal finance management. People need that a lot in a country like ours. And we have KYC identification. We have scoring, which is not something that is very popular here, but a lot of fintechs require that scoring to be able to grant loans to more people in the society. So these are use cases that open banking is going to support in the industry generally. Yeah.
Which of these use cases are most relevant to everybody? Like, literally.
Regardless of, the barrier to entry or whether they are not earning as much or something.
Onboarding is very important because these are things that have to do around identity. I know there are identity issues in the industry where we want to increase financial inclusion, and if we're going to improve financial inclusion from 51% of adult population that is today, according to EFINA, we are supposed to increase that to about 80%. But if we don't have proper identification and KYC, we can't get enough customers in the country, the low-end population into the formal financial sector. So I think onboarding and KYC is very important. And this is one of the key reasons why open banking is most welcome in the industry.
Okay. So, you mentioned the regulation and how, CBN is trying to help, direct this path.
Yes.
Do you think the licensing structure for open banking, do you think it is, for the participants at least, do you think it's too stringent, or how do you see it?
Well, I wouldn't say it is stringent, but I think that what the CBN has done is to protect the consumer ultimately, because about 2 years ago there was a regulation that was released by the NDPR to protect customer data and how businesses are supposed to manage customer data in the country, and this feeds into open banking. So generally, I think that.
It's not too stringent. It's definitely for the protection of the end user, or the people who are.
Yes, it's for the protection of the end user, and the regulation basically is very important.
Yeah.
The licensing structure is stringent, and there's a reason for that, because it's not everybody that can come and just take customer data and use it in the market. Mm-hmm. We have to be sure that they have the capacity to manage those that data accordingly, and they will not be breaching customer privacy. There will be some level of consent from the customers before these data are used for what they are meant to be used for. I remember collection of data. One of the things in the regulation is that when you collect data, it must be used for what you said you are going to use it for.
Yeah.
So if we have people who are collecting data and they're not using it for what they intend, or tell
using
the
it
customer
for
they're going to
something
use
else,
it for, it's going to be a problem, and there will be lots of issues in the market. So I think that's one of the things that CBN considered in making sure that they put stringent rules that have to do with the risk levels of each player in the market.
And being in the sector where you are, you'll be in a better position to actually educate us on which open banking model is most suitable for banks.
For now, because there are different markets, there are different models that are being used globally, and if you look at what is happening in under what we call the Payment Service Directive 2, in PSD 2 in Europe, you will see that there are middle players called the infrastructure players who gather data from banks and use that data to give data access basically to other fintechs to innovate. So in Nigeria, I wouldn't say that that may be the same, but it may be the same use case, But the market is evolving. We may need to just play around with the data and see what we can do in the market first before we start deciding what business models we're going to use. Because if we say there's a particular model we want to use now, it may not necessarily be effective. Yeah, generally, yeah.
Interesting. I was even more interested in like the KYC. I was reading something about a certain new innovation that we're not going to talk about, but KYC, anti-money laundering, BVN, and all of that stuff, helpful for data collection.
Yes.
So now, this is the FinTech podcast. If we move into like the FinTech space, now, as a focus, there's a report, the Innovation report, I believe, that Nigeria has Africa report. Yes. That Nigeria has surpassed Kenya, South Africa with Fintech Innovation. Let me just say.
Yes.
What factors do you think contributed to that, or what do you think is leading up to that?
Nigeria has the most advanced payment system in Africa. I stand to be corrected. But you see, a lot of fintechs are springing up in Nigeria, innovating, and there are some fintech hubs in Nigeria now doing a lot of stuff. And we find that investors are now having confidence in these innovators. And these innovators, because Nigeria has a large market, so there's still opportunity. I mentioned financial inclusion earlier. There's a gap in the financial inclusion numbers, which presents an opportunity for the market. So because of that, innovators have a lot of data to play with, a lot of space to play with, and there's a market to play around. So I think those are the kind of things that are contributing to expansion of these businesses. And remember, because we are very advanced, there are a lot of African countries that are not as advanced as we are. So it gives us the opportunity to spread into those countries and increase our numbers. And I think that's why we are surpassing other countries.
Don't you think our population is helping us?
Yes, that's why that's why I mentioned about the market. The market size is enormous.
I mean, yeah, we're many. And the fact that I was reading something about like number of bank accounts and number of people number of bank accounts and number of people that have bank accounts. Two different things.
Yes.
And it's not that high yet.
No, it's not.
We're not anywhere yet. But FirstBank with over 30 million customers, and how do you see the future of financial inclusion? Let's like the future in maybe next 5 years or 10 years. What do you see as the future of financial inclusion for Nigeria?
For Nigeria, it is quite interesting because we are in a few years we have come to realize that there are a lot of ways by which we can reach people who are financially excluded. To speak to facts, EFINA Report 2020 reflected that 51% of Nigerian adults, only 51% of Nigerian adults have access to formal education. I mean formal financial services. So that means that we still have about 49% who are not financially included. So in the next, and I know that CBN set a target for 2020 to have 70% financial inclusion. So, but we're at 51 now. So the next 5 years, because of these innovations that are happening in the market and this open banking regime that we're about to go into, we will see a lot of accelerated development of products and access to finance. So a lot of people are going to be opening a lot of accounts because these fintechs are going to bring about new products and help banks also distribute their products to hitherto unreached demographics. So I feel that in the next 5 years we might just achieve that 70 to 80% target that has been set, and that is not really bad at all.
Interesting.
Yeah, and speaking of fintech, Nigeria has over 200 fintech companies, I guess. But with all these companies in place handling different areas of fintech, do you still think that there are some untapped areas in Nigeria presently?
Definitely. There are many untapped areas. There are a lot of things that banks cannot do because of the kind of license that we hold. And because we are commercial banks, we are unable to release certain types of products to the market. But there is what data from the banks can do. There is what the financial data from the banks can do for different types of businesses and organizations in the market. That's why in FirstBank we consider partnerships as very key. And we are partnering with the fintech community to, while they innovate, we integrate with them, we work with them to develop new initiatives that can help us reach the market better. So I know that in the near future, we're going to be seeing new types of products that are bundled with financial services and that are supported by data from banks that will help them innovate and reach the market better. So there are lots of opportunities.
Interesting. I specifically like the data you mentioned, the 50%, 51%. It's funny how 1 in 2 Nigerians are bad.
Exactly.
Anyway. So that's all I have. This has been the FirstBank FinTech podcast. Thank you so much, Tolu, for sharing your insights and your wealth of knowledge. And I'm joined by my amazing, extravagant co-host, Tolu.
Thank you very much, Fisara. Thank you, Tolu, for being our guest.
Thank you.
We hope to see you soon.
Yes, sure.
So if you want to watch all the other episodes, just click the link in the description below. And, for more updates, I don't know what to say.
I'm sure you've been exhausted by all the fintech conversation. You're about to speak more fintech into this outro, but no, Tomike says no.
I was going to, anyway.
For more details, make sure you click the link below in the description box. I'm Tomike Adeyinka. We'll see you in our next episode. Say your name.
We all don't know.
Make sure you don't write his name on the screen. See you in the next episode.
Thank you.